I don't know what it is about people, but for some reason they think I'm so different. But I put on my knee sleeves one leg at a time, just like all of you. If you do 2 legs at a time, that'd be special. These are the raw elbow and knee sleeve, getting geared up. Throwing on a bunch of gears if I'm actually gonna like lift something. But it should be a great workout. Gonna do some benching, some squatting, some curling, some rowing. Bunch of stuff. You'll see. You'll all see. Today, kids, we're going to be talking about steroids. They're a great advantage. I don't know why there's so much weird conversation about it all the time, but they're awesome. All right, time to lift. Years and years ago, I spent a lot of time trying to build up my arms. I was able to get them pretty big, but I never really ended up with like good peaks or anything. I just kind of had slabs for arms, and now they're just kind of like whatever. I did tear my bicep a couple times, so.
Some people don't do any pipes. Like Stan, he said he never trains his arms. He said he just does like back.
Mm-hmm.
He claims that he's never done any arm exercises.
Yeah, his arms are huge. But, you know, synthol's great.
Could be, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, he's got some pretty ridiculous arms, but he probably spent most of his young life probably doing that, you know? And by the time we saw him, he
claims that he's never done it. That's his claim. I don't know how true it is.
Yeah, he probably means more recently. He does do dips, though. He does
you have to do curls when you're a kid, right?
Yeah. I'd say dips are tricep enough to like.
Maybe he just said bicep.
Work.
Maybe he said curls, like direct.
He probably also did close grip bench. Bench 600 pounds, so 606. Two, three, up. Nice. Oh. I ended up with like a little bit of bursitis. Pretty rare for like any injury to come my way, but sometimes certain things come after me. I don't always have. I'm not completely indestructible, but you can't really even barely tell. It's like not even that swollen anymore, but just kind of end up with this weird little hook thing on the back. And I had some concerns that it was like an Achilles thing, so I've been just not running. Instead, I've been using the bike. I ran a little bit the other day, but it got like aggravated. And I'm like, I'm just not going to be one of those people. I'm just going to choose not to be one of those people that is like having this clear issue and then like not addressing it. So working on fixing it and having it be at least 90% before I kind of get back into running. I have a trip to Paris next week, and I got to do a lot of walking for that, so I don't want to like be limping around while I travel. There's a big difference between what someone says and what someone does. Obviously, I wouldn't want to post like a known pedophile or something, but how the fuck do you always know what someone does? And also, that person could still have a very valid point. No one's point should be dismissed, regardless. Our current president, who is probably on his way to jail, do not pass go. Do not collect $200 on his way to jail. He retired. Where did he retire? Where did he say he's done? On Twitter. What a joke. What a joke. And then he couldn't even like really address people. He just did it like in an office where there was like.
And now he's not even president.
A couple of his own people. It's so weird. What a retard that guy is.
I'm not sure I'm going to do so what.
Anyway. Oh! Whoa.
Hey, what were you saying before about said something like we've been right about testosterone the whole time?
Yeah, I think your testosterone levels are irrelevant.
They don't matter that much, right?
Like, irrelevant's not a good word. That's too harsh. But
they don't
like,
necessarily match up with your strength and stuff.
right.
Like Sean Baker had 225 testosterone, but it can deadlift 405 for 40
No,
reps
and
or something.
what we're looking at is like, you're looking at more of like a cascade. Like, you know, you might be able to find a commonality in people. Like, for example, people that are strong and explosive, they usually have more type 2 muscle fibers, fast twitch muscle fibers, right? And then because of that, they might have X, Y, Z going on with like their hormones. And that all might be helpful, but it's still not like this guy produces a ton of growth hormone.
It doesn't match from person to person. Like if one person's is 200, they might be really strong. Another person might be really weak at 200.
Well, at 200, and also too, all that person needs is 200 milligrams.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
for
Sean
whatever
Baker
reason
says. He's like, I don't think I need a lot of testosterone. I don't need
Yeah.
it. Or I'm using it up is the other theory, right?
Yeah, that's a Nathan
using it all.
Jones theory.
Yeah, you know, I noticed when my testosterone levels were the actual lowest, like registered lowest by a test, they were 51. But it was because I was on SARMs, and I was asking Derek for more plates, more dates, and he kind of like
Probably
explained it.
do a quarter and maybe just like go a little bit higher rep.
But he said like the mechanism, the way that SARMs work, was what was making me stronger, and it didn't have anything to do with my testosterone levels.
There's a lot of shit that we don't know. Like, this is like totally made up, but like, let's just hypothetically say that when your testosterone levels are higher, maybe your whole energy system is impacted, and maybe that's plus for A, B, and C, but not great for X, Y, and Z. I think that's the way the body works. I think someone like Nsima, who looks amazing, who, you know, became a pro natural bodybuilder and still says he's clean, doesn't utilize any testosterone or any of those kinds of things. I think for a guy like that, I think what you would find is you would find that his hormones throughout are probably really good. So it's not any one specific hormone that's like through the roof. Probably has the correct amount of estrogen and the correct amount of everything else.
Oh.
Because, you know, Poliquin, I remember he said this in a seminar, and this is when I was still natural, so it really intrigued me. But he said that there's a super steroid for everybody. And he's like each person's going to have to try to figure that out for themselves, you know, due to like their receptors. And I mean, you and I've seen people, we've seen people go into the gym and they just train for a few weeks and they just blow up and they get really big, even without drugs. And then we've seen other people take drugs and really just get fat and bloated and like red.
Or be skinny.
We've seen people get like really lean and shredded off of stuff before. We've seen...
I had amazing...
I mean, remember our roommate that we had, Vinny Gumbats? He just all of a sudden was like, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show. And then he was like smoking cigarettes all the time. He got on some gear. I don't think he really took gear previous. I don't even think he really liked working out that much.
He liked
But he got
boxing.
completely shredded and looked like a bodybuilder like in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So this movement right here, I love doing these with just a partial range. You know, people make such a big deal about the ranges of motion, but I just think why not use different ranges of motion? Striated glutes. That's what I'm going for. I know how important those can be in our society today.
Oh. That's weird.
try to hold this guy just to see if you can even like hold on your shoulder. That's weird.
Right there.
Like even that's a good squeeze, and just like relax your arm a little bit, just so you can let it drift, move around a little bit. Maybe just move the elbow around, because even that is like, you know, decent shoulder movement.
Yeah, my thing with it is like things hurt, and then a lot of people say, well, if it hurts, don't do it.
I don't know, if it hurts, you should do it.
You should still move through it, right?
Yeah, no, you should cue it to hurt on purpose. So like if my groin hurt, we would do what Andy showed us yesterday. If this hurt in here,
yeah,
I'd be like, all right, let me cue. Oh, I'd go, okay, that's where it hurts, and I'd want to try to find the breath, and I'd just move right from here to here. But you want to cue it to hurt. I think it's important.
Yeah. So like every bodybuilding coach will tell you, if it hurts, do something else. You know? And
yeah,
like,
bodybuilders aren't good to listen to for anything.
Yeah. I'm
Except
saying
for
that's what I'm
drug
used to
use.
hearing from, you know?
I think what they're talking about, like in your quest for hypertrophy, you should stop and do something different, or try to address.
Because you're not going to get bigger by doing.
Yeah, get off. If the bench press isn't working, get off of it. There's plenty of other exercises.
I think probably
that's
right.
kind of more what they're in reference to. And then see if you can get your whole body to twist. Yeah, to rotate. Get your shoulders to rotate towards the outdoors out there. Yep. There's so many different ways to row. You know, some people will teach like to row and just keep your shoulders square, which is more like activate the lat. But like in my case, I think in his case, I think, you know, any sort of rotation is going to really serve us over a period of time, since we don't rotate great anymore. So I try to put some rotational work in somewhere. What I like about this movement for you is you can, you know, move the arm out. You can try a bunch of different stuff with it. It's like minimal risk, even though it does hurt. It's not the same as like, it's not as excruciating as the press, it doesn't look like. For guys that have been training for a long time, or guys that just like, guys or girls that are like beat up and banged up, just start to look at your lifting a little different. Not everything that you do always has to result in a strength gain or just a hypertrophy gain. Those are the two main things that you can do in the gym, and that is something that you should always keep in mind. But also, the gym could just make you feel good. It can make you feel better. And the exercises that we're doing in the gym can also just kind of help you with your mobility, your posture, your movement pattern. So like why you're getting stronger can change a lot. If I'm trying to get stronger to have like a bigger bench, then maybe we can have a little discussion about how important it's going to be, and for me to have a bigger deadlift and stuff. Then it might be more important for me to work my way to the 150 dumbbells for rows, because we could say, well, you're going to need that kind of grip and that kind of back and that kind of size. If you can handle the 150s for sets of 10 on a movement like that and do 20 reps of shrugs with the 150s, you probably have a body strong enough to pull 700-800 pounds, bench over 500 pounds, stuff like that. But that's not always the goal. That's not always what's on tap. Sometimes just better movement and just feeling good. Good exercise, by the way, for some of y'all that have a weird lower back thing going on. Try this. Get here and flex your stomach and push down. You can even like round the back. Be careful with kind of what you do with your spine. Sometimes you're not used to certain positions, but squish down into it pretty good. You'll be able to see better on here. So here like this. This is amazing to do like first thing in the morning. When that lower back is just full of tension in the morning, flex your shins and your quads and your stomach. And then release. You could do it with your forearms. Harder for me to do with forearms. Now I'm at my end range. I got no more power to push downward. But that strength to push down, Kelly Starrett's book here. That power to be able to push down. I have a theory that the best deadlifters in the world would be able to, let's see, this might be where a barbell would be on the ground, sort of, if there was 45s on it ish. So when I bend down and I go to push on this, I can't push down on it with much strength because this is the end range, right? So if I don't have any strength through that range of motion, then that means I'm going to have to kind of lift from here, which means I'm going to be a shitty deadlifter. So like Eddie Hall or some of these guys in their prime, Hapthor, they'd be able to push down on the bar with a crazy amount of pressure and strength, in my opinion. It's just a theory, but I think that they're able to be elastic from that position because they have more options available. Whereas for me, when I would get in position for deadlift, it was like I just barely get in position. I had to get in and out of that bottom position so quickly because I didn't have great mechanics or mobility. People don't know the impact and just how motivating steroids can be. Performance enhancing drugs, they don't just enhance your body, enhance your mind a lot. It makes it easier to get in here and want to train. And then once I'm in here, it gives you like effort momentum, I would call it. Like a motivational lubricant. It lubes you up for what you're about to do for the day. And so for me, it's been a tremendous motivating factor. And you guys know I don't shy away from it. I don't have any problem talking about what I've taken or what I take. I think it's, for me, it's just, it's part of it. It is sort of part of who I am to the outside world. But I'm not going to sit here and say they don't come with any negative consequences at all. They sure do. Do your research and do your best to be up on the latest and learn from the best people in the world. Look on YouTube, check out podcasts, and keep learning and learning and learning before you try to take any substances. And also, get your shit together. I'm somebody that was already lifting for many years, was already way into the diet stuff, was already researching stuff and looking up stuff many, many years ago before I ever decided to take the plunge into the dark side. And when I did go, even when I was thinking of going to the dark side, maybe like 5 years of continuous reading and searching, and it was hard to find stuff back then too. Hard to get the kind of right information, the good information. So anyway, the reason I share that is not to encourage anyone to take anything, because I don't. Steroids are not necessarily the answer that you might think they are. The whole situation is kind of tricky, but for some individuals, it may work out great for them to at least look into them or consider them. For others, it can be disastrous, and I've seen that happen with people before. So your mood and all kinds of different things are a huge factor. But if you ever take a substance and have a lot of negative side effects that you do not like, make note of that substance and don't ever take it again. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. I had a good time training with my brother today. Catch you guys later. Whoosh.